Welcome to the quietest ones in the room with your host, Trey. I hope you're enjoying your day. But man, it seems like heads are spinning. ADHD, ADD is at an all-time high right now. And things are moving so fast in the media. And I certainly had to come and share some of my thoughts about one of the most current events taking place, which is the discussion around Gaza. And it's full of so much. Um, I don't even really know where to start necessarily, but I definitely want to come and share my perspective because maybe I'll say something that you hadn't considered before. Maybe this is a learning opportunity for me as well it is for you. Maybe you'll share something in the comments that will enlighten or give more depth and understanding to the situation. First thing I want to cover is the media and platforms such as ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and whatever other AI language models there are out there. The biggest thing to me that I wanted to start the conversation off with is the reality that when you see a headline or you're using something like an AI language model, oftentimes that article in that language model can do you a disservice in providing you more complete information that is required for you to make a decision and a stance against something that's being said. So as an example, if you're looking at MSNBC or CNN or the New York Times or Fox News or Breitbart, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, all these platforms have different agendas. And it's not enough for you to just read what was said or watch a small clip of a video. You have to go and look at maybe the full depth, the full length of the video instead of just taking a sound bite and gaining insight from that, or just added words to words that were said by someone. And I don't know if you're aware of this. I came to this understanding pretty quickly with AI, which is there's a delay between what AI tells you and what happens in reality, because something has to input data into the AI, the learning language model, in order for it to even make decisions based off of what is said. So as an example, as we talk about Palestine and Trump's proposal to relocate the Palestinians, the headlines are painting it one way. The language models, the AI language models are going to paint it one way. But the learning language models don't have the ability to take into account verbatim what was said by Trump. And depending on what media sources you use, they're not going to tell you verbatim what was said by Trump unless it's a piece of what was said that lends to the credence of whatever propaganda they're trying to get you to believe regarding the topic at hand. So I would challenge anyone, as I always do, to go and look at full-length videos and watch for yourself what's been said, and you make your decisions based off of not only what has been said, but the historical context of what has occurred in the region as it pertains to Palestine and Israel, Egypt and Jordan, and so on. It's a very complex situation. And I hate to say it that way because in my eyes, the more that that's said, it lends itself to there are no solutions. And solutions for the Palestinian people are a topic of heated debate because there's so much that goes in to what that region is experiencing. Cultural differences, religious differences, government, how government should be ordered, those differences are there. And there's been so much turmoil in terms of wars and catastrophe over time for decades upon decades. And given that the people of Palestine and it's fractioned off. You have the West Bank and then you have the Gaza Strip. And many don't know the dynamics of it, but you have essentially two different government groups running. One, the Fatah running the West Bank, and then you have Hamas, which is in control of the Gaza Strip. And so even amongst the Palestinian people, there's a level of division there. And the surrounding territories are divided on how to handle the Palestinian people. And it's been going on for too long. We just got out of, we just saw a ceasefire take place between Israel and the Palestinian people, which needed to happen sooner, needed to happen way sooner than it did. But nonetheless, here we are. Tens of thousands of people had been killed. And the explanation, from that is the retaliation of what happened, known as October 7th against Israel. So many of us hear these things and we don't understand, particularly here in America, like what type of role we play in the grand scheme. And one of the things that I wanted to outline is how big of a part the United States plays into funding and supporting the Palestinian people, although America did not create the issue of the decades upon decades of tragedies that have been occurring in that region. And you would need to do your history research on your own. You could look into the Ottoman Empire. You could look into the British rule of the region, how Egypt and Germany have played a role, how Israel plays a role, how Qatar plays a role, Saudi Arabia, all these countries, Iran, Turkey, how they all play a role. And what I want to make mention, if you're not aware of it, is the largest funder and supporter of the region, of Palestine to be exact, has been the United States of America. Second, maybe second to us would be the United Nations, Europe. But the support for the Palestinian people has often been in words by many other nations, but not in actual monetary financing and providing resources for the people in that region to build a viable country for themselves. Everybody says that they want not everyone, but many people say, many nations to be exact, say that they want a two-party state where Israel has its sovereignty and the Palestinian people have their sovereignty. And it's very contentious because many of the countries that say it in words, they don't all agree. many of the Arab nations, they don't all agree. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran, right? Many of these nations, United Arab, the UAE, they don't all agree on what should be done, in particular in terms of who should govern, etc. And I will inject my perspective really quickly, which is I'm a believer in the people of any nation deciding how they would like to be governed and voting on that. And we all have that right. And people have a right to be, again, governed as they desire to. And let me apologize. My allergies are crazy. So I'm sorry if I'm sniffing and I sound sick. But if you don't have allergies, you're blessed. Amen. So, yeah, so the Palestinian people have a right to be governed as they desire. And my hope in this situation is that no one sees the solution of just taking a group of people out of a place and moving them elsewhere without the proper and moral and ethical things in which and how that should be done, which is the people would decide how they would want that to happen and agree to it. Because if it's not done that way, and because of how complex it is and contentious it is, you'll continue to hear things like ethnic cleansing, genocide, war crime, all these different things. And you're already hearing it, people arguing about things that they don't have full context on because they didn't listen to what anyone said verbatim, whether it was Trump or Netanyahu taking sound bites, jumping on AI and asking questions, but AI isn't even privy to all the information as well. So it's just a hodgepodge and a soup of negativity when the people of Palestine need serious solutions. And sometimes, like, someone has to say the difficult thing. Not that they even want it to be that way, but because when they say what they say, maybe it starts serious conversations about how do we avoid the continuous wars in this region. One area that I really thought about that at one time it didn't even seem feasible that these countries could even live in the same area is North Korea and South Korea. And yeah, that was complex. It's still complex. It's they're on that side, you're on that side. But there has been far less tension than anyone could have ever imagined after there were proper solutions that were enacted and there's been some level of normalcy. I'm not saying that this or that is right, but the one thing that we all can say is that people want safety and security and they want to be governed how they desire to be governed. They want to have the right to choose and that freedom. And everyone should have a right of that. So if you were looking for me to bash the Trump administration or Netanyahu or anyone else, no, it's really not even about that. It's what solutions, when they're proposed, would you even back? Have you done your due diligence to understand as much as you possibly can? So that way you can know what sounds like nonsense. That way you can maybe support things that you think make sense. But ultimately, as Americans, we have to decide, does it even make sense to finance indefinitely a country that still has to make its own choice about how it wants things to occur in its territory? We spent billions upon billions of dollars in that area. Inconsistently, just like any other nation, but we have far more, we have outspent other nations by far. And those nations who talk about what they want to be done have also been inconsistent. So it's like, who really cares about the Palestinian people? That's the ultimate question. Like, who cares about that? Like, who really cares about these people? And we've been supporting, and there are many people in this country of America who have been activists and speaking on hilltops about how to handle that country and the people. But we have to allow those people to make their own decision. And I do not agree with any process which would force any group of people to be forcefully or coerced into moving into and out of their homeland and into an area where they really don't want to be. So I'm not for that. But we need to understand that there's been a lot of talk and a lot of inaction. And yet, for all the criticism that America receives regarding what goes on in that region, we've been funding the Palestinian people the most. But I'm not sure if you were aware of that. But at this point, with Hamas governing the Gaza Strip, it's really difficult to navigate that. Even when I say, oh, just let the people vote, I don't even know how that would happen. But now I'm grateful that there's a ceasefire in place. The killing has stopped. Conversations are being had, and maybe people will get righteously upset enough to actually want to help the Palestinian people fix this issue that's been going on for far too long. And I think it's possible because it's happened for other nations before. And as I mentioned, North Korea, South Korea, and what was going on, like that, South Korea is an incredible economic powerhouse now. North Korea, whether you like it or not, the advances and the things that they've been able to do, impressive. So be mindful of the tactics in the media to once again divide you against the people around you in your country that you live in, the United States of America. The only thing at this point I would say is maybe when people were talking recklessly about what Donald Trump said or someone else in his administration said, it's like, how do you know that? What's your source? Where'd you get that? Like, we are at that point where we cannot just allow anyone to say whatever they want without concern for you. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we all make decisions based off of the information we receive. So all I'm saying is, let's all take our time and look into information without taking the sound bites and the clickbait and the headlines. And I'll leave it there. Please share your thoughts in the comment section, like and subscribe. The point of this, again, really wasn't to try to offend anyone. It's really to just take a step back and once again understand how important it is to do your own due diligence in researching and being objective and asking yourself the questions that need to be asked regarding the information you're receiving. And out of all of this, hopefully the Palestinian people can be restored the way in which everyone in the world can say, what a great outcome that was, and a world combined effort to get it right for people who've been battling for so long. Thank you. Until next time.